Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome to this vlog, and today I wanted to talk about how to survive long term as an expat in another country. As you can see, I had a pretty good walk, and I went to my favorite place where I'm at right now, which is Jco. Jco Coffee is a international Indonesian brand of coffee, and I really enjoy it. So I came here to sit down and elaborate on what I had been thinking about, or talk about what I'd been pondering over. Basically, living long term is quite a sacrifice if you feel like you're holding on to a lot. If you feel like you don't really have much to lose, or you're trying to improve yourself or improve your life situation, it will be only gains, just nothing but gains. So if we look at it, some of us travel for different reasons. Some of us travel out of necessity, while others travel for economic benefit. Some of us resettle to another country to work for a select amount of time in order to pay off debts, in order to achieve economic goals and then move on. And some of us just really love the country that they're in and they want to stay there for a long time. Depending on your situation, this advice will affect you differently. In general, we'll do I guess maybe the short version first. If you are in any country, you want to go to a country specifically to make money and get in and get out, and not explore, not do anything, you're just there on a mission, a money-making mission, then I would recommend investing in video games and staying home, not immersing yourself if that's not your thing. I say that only because it depends on where you're coming from. If you're doing okay and you just want to save up for, let's say, a business, you don't want to take that big loan, but you'd rather have your own financial capital to do that, you may be in a pretty good situation and you're enjoying the experience, in which case disregard. You can go out and enjoy and have fun. But I found in my time here, my time abroad, especially in the Middle East, there are some folks that are trying to dig their way out of debt or stay for a select amount of time, and they don't particularly like where they are. This is actually unfortunately very common. Now, if you're here with a short-term goal, like let's say 1 year, 6 months, something very short, then no problem. You don't have to like it here. You don't have to like wherever you stay. You just get in, you do your job, you do it well, and you get out. And if you are lucky, you make some friends along the way. Maybe you decide, or maybe you change your mind and you actually like the place, or maybe not. You made your money and you move on. Now the problem is, moving from that, the problem is far too many expats, I should say, from around the world. When I say expats, I don't just limit it to Western individuals. I mean expats from any kind of country. Far too many of them end up going to places that they really don't like. Now, they could dislike the country for different reasons. Sometimes people will relocate to a place that is of a different religious background than theirs, and they might not really like that religion that they're living in. And if that's the case, then it's very hard to stay there long term. Other people will relocate because they think that there's economic opportunity in a new country, and that they'll receive some kind of benefits, and they'll make money at the same time. You see that kind of perspective from people who are relocating to Europe. I've actually spoken with quite a few people who think, or who are under the impression here, that if they were to relocate to Europe, I'm not talking about Saudis, but other folks, other expats, who think that if they were able to relocate to Europe, they would be given free housing and free education and free. And I think that that's kind of the wrong perception to have in general. If you expect a new place that you just roll into to give you things, it's quite a problematic perspective or belief to hold, because you might not find anything, or maybe you'll get something, but bear in mind that the locals will probably resent you a lot for that. So I'm not exposed to that too much here, but there is actually there is quite a segment of the expat population here, let's say in Saudi Arabia, who do expect more. They expect, I guess, I don't know if they want to be taken care of or what it is, but they feel like that this place doesn't do enough for them. Somehow that because this place is so immensely wealthy, that they are owed something, that this place owes them something. And I think that if you have that belief, it's a really horrible way to live your life. I don't know how long you'll be here, or you might live your whole life here and have children here, and unfortunately you'll have a really negative day, like every single day. So I don't encourage anybody to embrace that mindset. That's a disastrous mindset. I think that if you're a Muslim person coming here voluntarily, that you should basically say, Alhamdulillah, I've been given this opportunity to settle in a place, at least for a select period of time, and that I'm going to make the most of it. With all of the Gulf states, they're really, until today, unless you're hyper wealthy or you can invest a lot of money, there really isn't like a long-term goal for hijra or for long-term settling. Even if you're not a Muslim and you just really like the culture here. I experienced that with some traditional teachers or some traditional minded guys from California, of all places, who really liked the traditional lifestyle here. They liked the old school approach of the students towards their teachers, and they wanted to settle here. And actually one of them actually passed away here during the COVID times. He was a close friend of mine as well. So there are people who would like to stay here long term. Unfortunately, it's quite challenging. I don't think that's and I don't think that's going to change anytime in the future. There are many expats here. You probably could live your entire life here, but you'd be in a kind of a strange situation where you would be, it's basically up to your employer how long you'd stay here, and then you'd have to find another employer. If, for example, if you lose your job or you don't like it and you want to, if you just lose your job, I should say, then you might be facing a situation where you've even had children that have never been to their native country, and they all have to go back home, quote unquote home, to a place that they've never been to before. So that kind of situation always makes people a little bit uneasy, and that's why I wouldn't recommend this place for long-term settlement. I mean, like retirement until death is what I'm trying to say. Only because of the way that things are set up. It's not set up for that, not yet anyways. Maybe it will change someday, maybe it won't, and that's entirely up to the people who live here and the people who make the decisions. When it comes to long-term settlement, there are other countries that do have different plans. Malaysia, for example, has a retirement plan, and that's for everyone, really. So it's not only Muslims who are thinking of retirement, or thinking, pardon me, of hijrah. There are older people, that are thinking of retirement in these places for a better lifestyle, for better health care, for accessibility to those types of things. So they do have a good retirement plan, and they're not alone. The same is true for Thailand, which has a lot of medical tourism, of all things. The same is true for, Thailand. Indonesia also has retirement plan programs, retirement visas. The only issue with those is that you have to have a select amount of money, and you have to be a certain age. And each country varies and differs about that. But my point in saying that is that those places do kind of have you in mind as someone who will settle there long term. Maybe you won't get the citizenship because things work differently in each country, right? But it's kind of like under the impression that you're going to be there until you pass away. And they're ready for that. And they're hopeful that you coming to them is going to benefit the nation as well. I mean, in general, we should be people that actually have services, right? If we're expats, we're trying to make an income and live in a place that we want to live in, a new place. And at the same time, we want to be able to benefit the people that are living, the natives, the people that actually are from their country. So as a teacher, I really, really enjoy my job. And I think that that's one of the things I'm doing, is trying to make the local Saudi population competitive on the global stage by teaching them English and other skills. So you have those kinds of folks. If you're here, or if you're an expat and you want to do backpacking and things like that, the Middle East is a little bit, not the Middle East, the Khalij is good for that, I would say now. You actually may find some short-term jobs or short-term gigs here and there. And I feel like that's kind of the direction that a lot of places are moving into. That mindset would be of a person who is seeking adventure, and there's definitely a lot of adventure here. So in general, I guess the point I'm trying to come to is, if you're going to be working abroad, you should be thankful to the place that you've moved into for providing you that opportunity to accomplish your goals, and you should have a positive mindset. If you fall into negativity, if you actually like hate where you are, you hate where you live as an expat in this new place that you've been given the rights to work in, I would just suggest that you leave. Or either go back home or find another country that more aligns with your goals or with your worldview or with where you want to be in your life or how you want to live your life. Yeah, I think that that's the main point. I've seen some guys that basically, I would call them like mercenary teachers, and they come in and they can't stand it here. They really, really, really miss having parties or drinking and doing other like nightlife stuff. And so then they basically work and they think about going to Bahrain, to the neighboring country, because in Bahrain there's accessibility to alcohol and to nightlife stuff, which is really, really questionable in and of itself. So that's kind of a trend. Again, everybody's different, and that's the lifestyle for some guys. But in general, like if you're planning on doing that long term, you're probably going to get sick. I wouldn't suggest it. I don't think it's going to be healthy. And that said, guys, I hope you all the best. I wish you all the best, pardon me. I think that make sure that wherever you go, that your goals and aspirations align with the place that you're moving to. For example, one of the things that holds me back from, like, let's say working in a place like Korea is the lack, two things primarily. The drinking culture, which is very, very prominent in the workforce. It's just a normal part of life, and that's their culture and their lifestyle, and I'm not there to change it. And that's what holds me back from going there in the first place, because there is an expectation that you will have a few beers after work with your colleagues or with your boss even, just to get to know each other. It doesn't mean that you're getting wasted, although that does quite often happen to people as well. And then the lack of accessibility to halal food. It's a growing market now in Korea, but just there's so much like pork intertwined with everything that it holds me back. So now, speaking as a Muslim person, that's what holds me back from going to a place like Korea. You might think, well, Ted, why would you want to even go there in the first place? The thing about Korea is that I have seen excellent teachers come out of Korean schools or come out of Korean universities, people who have taught there before. They come back with a really strong set of teaching skills. And I feel like they really do a good job with professional development. So there are some benefits for teachers to go there. And if those things that I've just mentioned don't bother you, if they're like you don't have those kind of dietary restrictions or lifestyle restrictions, then by all means, maybe that would be like a better option. I mean, if we're just going to speak specifically for teachers and becoming a better teacher, Korea is an awesome option. Again, if you're not concerned about dietary things or these kind of nightlife things, I would also suggest Vietnam. They also have quite a few opportunities, and I believe it's a tad bit easier to start working there with fewer qualifications than you would need to come to the Khalij states, to the Gulf states. And lastly, of course, I mean, if you're just concerned about lifestyle and you're not concerned about saving as much, I would say Indonesia, and then you can still actually save and make money in Malaysia too, but not as much as Saudi Arabia. So Indonesia also has a very comfortable lifestyle. Some people do mention Turkey, but I haven't been there. And I'm not really too interested in going either. Turkey used to interest me, but now as I'm getting older, I'm not really as interested in bopping around and moving to so many, or checking out so many places as I used to be. But I know that Turkey is one of those countries as well. It's a Muslim country, first of all. But secondly, it's a place that if you invest enough money into property or something else, like a business, they'll actually give you a passport and full citizenship. So if you're from a Muslim background, that's something to consider. I mean, that's quite amazing in that it'll open up a lot of doors for you and for your family. Of course, if you don't have any kind of ties to Turkey in any way, whether madhab, Islamic, in terms of your Islamic approach to law, or in terms of like whomever you're married to, or cousins, or family, or friends, then it may be not the best fit for you. It just depends. And bear in mind that it's a lot more of an open society in terms of other things that happen. Like they do have like alcohol and dancing and things like that. Like maybe more so than other Muslim countries. So that's something to bear in mind. Anyways, y'all, I don't mean to make a rambling talk here, but I hope that this does kind of give you some perspective. So the main story is keep a positive mindset, try your best to work hard, and inshallah you can make it long term. If you want to burn out, don't do those things. And in general, if you're here just for that short, make your money and get out, then don't worry about it. But please, please, for the love of God, guys, whomever you are, don't hate where you are, And if you do, please try to move on, because it makes life unbearable for you and actually for everybody around you. I know it's it's easy to complain, but if that just becomes your whole life, it's just going to be damaging. It's going to be damaging. Anyways, assalamu alaikum. Thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe to this channel. I have reflections, and I tried to show a little bit of the country as well, and I'll try to post like on a weekly basis. Anyways, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye.